Hey guys, welcome back to Welcome on Custom. Today we are going to learn how to make this farmhouse frame. Let's get started. Before we get too far into the video, I did want to go ahead and mention something about track saws. So if you want to be able to cut your own backers at home, you don't want to rely on Home Depot or Lowe's to cut your backer for you, a track saw is a great option because it can be stored away and into a smaller space and doesn't take up a ton of room like a table saw. Lots of different track saws on the market, from affordable to expensive, that can fit just about any budget. So I have my backer cut and I have all of my pieces placed on top. This is to make sure that my backer is actually the right size. We just want to make sure there's no gaps once we have put all of the frame pieces around the backer. If you do find any gaps, you will want to go ahead and trim your backer just a little bit smaller, and this is why having a track saw at home is helpful. Now what I'm going to do is line up my trim boards up at the top left corner so that they are flush against the corner of the piece, and then I am going to mark at the bottom left corner where I need to cut. I'll take that marked piece over to my miter saw and go ahead and cut on the line. Then I'll take my cut piece back over and double check to make sure that our cut is flush with the end. Since it's a square, we can assume that the left and right side and the top and bottom side boards will be the same length. So I'm going to go ahead and line up my two boards and mark the end where I'm going to go ahead and make another cut. Once cut, lay them down on top of each other to make sure they're the same length, and then we're going to set them on either side of our showstopper. Now we're going to grab some more trim. This time we are going to be lining it up with the outer edge of the wood frame that is already there, and we are going to mark it. And we take it back over to the miter saw once again and cut our third board. Double check to make sure it's the correct length, and then you're going to line it up with a second piece of trim and mark it, and once again cut your board. Now I'm going to grab out my framing strap. This is really just to double check and make sure that all the lengths that I cut will work for the backer and the frame. Just me double, triple checking my work. Now that I have checked everything, I'm going to go ahead and stain. I'm using General Finishes and an American Walnut. And these boards are actually pine. And sometimes pine can take stain a little funny, so I am going to go ahead and give these boards a little bit of a sanding. Make sure you check your stain instructions to see what grit it recommends using. I think mine said no more than 150, so just keep that in mind. Now I'm going to go ahead and give my stain a quick stir, and I'm going to apply it with a cut up cotton t-shirt. Once all the stain's applied, go ahead and wait for it to dry. So now my stain is all dry, as you can see, and we are going to go ahead and adhere it to our backer. Now I decided to go ahead and change it up, and I mentioned this a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and do the long pieces on the sides and the short pieces on the top and bottom. That way we have a cleaner presentation when you see the artwork from the side, and the cut portion will be hidden on the top and the bottom. Next, we will go ahead and put the framing strap back on once again, making sure that we have everything properly lined up. Next, I'm going to carefully lift the framing strap off the top two corners, and I am going to apply glue down one of the trim boards. Now, keep in mind the plywood is 1/2 inch, and then you've got a 1/4 inch, maybe an 1/8 inch for your wood. So you really want to concentrate all your glue on the very bottom portion of your trim board. I'm using a silicone brush to just kind of spread it out. And then I am going to carefully place the board back onto the backer. Now put this framing strap back down, and we are going to turn it a 1/4 turn and expose the next board and apply more glue. Repeat this process until all 4 boards are glued to the backer. Once you have all 4 sides glued, you'll want to go ahead and just double check your placement and make sure your corners look nice and square. Now that we're glued up, I'm going to go ahead and expose one side, and I'm going to add some nails to my board. I am going to want to get as low as I can on the board because we do not want the nails popping through up top. I'm basically just adding a nail to each side just so that I can have it tacked on, and then I can remove my framing strap and not need to worry about it any longer. So all it needs is just 1 nail per side, just again to make sure that the pieces aren't going to shift, and then we will remove the framing strap altogether. Once you've tacked every side and you remove the framing strap, you can go ahead and add additional nails all the way around to hold your boards in place. So you can see I actually ended up doing a double frame, and this would be made the exact same way as we did the other frame. But what we're going to do is we adhere this first frame, and then we're going to do the exact same way we measured, but with this additional wood. And you will add glue and nail it just like you did the interior frame. So it's really just a frame that's been doubled up. One thing that I do like about it that I will mention is that you can see I did the straightaway on the left and right side. That way we don't see any cut edges. The cut edges are actually up on top and on the bottom. So when you look at the art from the side, you don't see any joints and where it is actually adhered. All right, guys, that's it. Hopefully you found the tutorial helpful. Make sure to subscribe and check out more tutorials just like this. Thanks so much.